Welcome back to Beyond Good and Evil. So, technically speaking, we need to enter the Slaughterhouse via one of the races, but you can actually do two races, particularly here already in the capital. So let's give it a look.
You know, I gotta say, I'm watching it on a 4K TV right now, and doesn't look too bad when it's stretched out past 1080. It's just
races 1 and 2.
While on 3 and 4 are the ones that will need to enter, especially the third one. We need to enter to find the shortcut.
And then after I could come, I'll tell you how to drift.
Alright.
Oh, it does sound like a bit of an acapella tune in here.
The word is usually a pair.
I'm thinking more practically.
I know. It's just like, well, acapella tends to be associated with Crash, so figured I might as well.
Acapella was at the end 2 gates.
I just thought of something.
There you go. Even the countdown is in
Spanish. Wow, you can literally jump over them.
Yeah, and you can also use your cannon to destabilize them.
Wow, this feels a lot like a good old-fashioned open-world platformer from the 90s of racing.
The racing controls, it's your hovercraft, so the racing controls are the same as you use in the overworld, so very serviceable enough. But later on, the races start to become a bit more challenging, so you need to use the shortcuts better. But who was saying something?
I was trying. I think I did remember something when I was saying I'll use the Jack and Daxter trilogy because this game is very similar in structure to those games. From what I'm seeing here.
I can already tell you I'm enjoying these races much more than the ones in Jack 2.
Oh, I'm not even a fan of Jack 2 to begin with anyway. So.
Kind of wonder, were you guys a fan of the Jack and Dax racing game?
I prefer Jack 3 over 2, to be honest.
Same.
So who else played Jack X?
I could. I probably should get it on the PS4
honestly,
if it's good enough.
Honestly, I've had a PS2 since the game came out, and I never even really heard of Jack and Daxter until like a few years ago.
You poor sweet summer child.
I'm that guy who somehow never that.
Anyway, the first time winning a race, you get a pearl and also some credits. Every time you win a race after that, you get always a bunch of credits. So if you're need on cash and you're good at piloting, you can go ahead with that.
Yeah, like I was saying, it's one of the. I get the feeling. Okay, let me use Jack 1 as an example. In Jack and Daxter, we start the game in the actual area where they live, and we talk to all the citizens there. And because of that, we get a good semblance of the atmosphere. We get a good talk about the characters. We get familiarized with Jack and Daxter. All that good stuff. The game starts off fairly slowly. After that, we leave that area and we go explore all that stuff. Anyway, it's a purposely slow intro. Specifically for the purpose of establishing the atmosphere, the characters, and the overall world. And like I've said in the previous part, I think this game could have benefited from a similar type of introduction, like a more slow-paced first level of sorts, where we really talk to a lot of NPCs to get a good feel for the game's story. Like I said, I think the way this game begins is a bit too quick. Like I said, I really get the feeling that Michelle probably wasn't able to include stuff like that because of the rush development and lack of budget and all that shit.
To its credit though, Pedro, we do actually get that slow introduction to the characters after the first fight anyway.
We do. We do, but I don't think there was enough. You see, I think a more slow-paced Jack and Daxter 1 style of introduction would have help the story flow better. It would make us more attached to characters more quickly, and so again, like I said, I'm genuinely convinced that there's a lot of cut content from this game.
I feel like we did sort of.
There definitely is. Another complete different alien faction at some point. So.
Yeah, there's definitely cut content. I do feel that we still get that intro. It's just the order is different. As opposed to getting that slow intro at the start, we get it like after the first fight scene. a typical thing. I don't feel that hurts it too much, but I guess I can see why the Sudden Star may put off some,
I'm also guessing it's probably maybe for what it talks about. It's a fast-paced intro that serves for tutorial purposes, specifically the combat and for establishment, but it's right at the beginning. Usually, most games that do fast-paced intro with some kind of tutorial usually have the excuse of using a medias res type of narrative, showcasing the protagonists or protagonist like at the tail end of a game or a situation near that, and then the game backtracks and tell you how we got from there from that point, you know. But here instead it's all rapidly connected immediately, so I'm guessing that creates a sense of disorientation potentially.
I guess.
But,
I mean, thankfully I didn't suffer it, but I guess the way you.
But anyway, there you go.
Could
This is the old Slaughterhouse, and there are races 3 and 4. The one that we need to enter, in order to enter the Slaughterhouse, we need to find a secret passage in race 3. But I think for the moment I'm just gonna win the race. Don't think I use the limited capacity.
I love the way you said that.
It's more so Teo that
I can see why they call it Slaughterhouse.
It's very twisted metal-esque.
It's more so Teo that it's not so much a matter of that. Teo. It's more so the lack for a story that's really tackling some really interesting and deep subject matter. It lacks cutscenes. I think that's my problem. Like when you have a story with such interesting themes like this one does, you really get that. You really get that wish of. I really wish we could, have more cutscenes so that everyone can probably discuss all of these themes more actively. And from what I'm seeing so far, I'm not seeing that much talking about said themes.
Again, it's pretty clear that at this moment, Michel Ansel made, as we say in my country, the step longer than its leg. A bit more than he could chew, and as a result, he couldn't get all his original idea. Like I said, he was hoping that with the sequel, prequel, he can fix that.
You know what I feel
we'll
like?
See.
I feel like this game could have used more time in the oven. Not in the sense that this game feels rushed, but I feel like this game should have gotten more time to have a year to itself. Because let's not forget, this was like one of 3 major Ubisoft titles released in the same year.
At the time, yeah.
And 2 of which were made by the same guy, too. So I feel there may have been some oversaturation.
Regiment 3 had Ansel only as a consultant, so...
Yeah, but even still, though, it's like, well, my point is, like, it does seem like maybe this game may have been a bit pressured in that sense in the saturation department.
Not to mention the game that I already compared these to, because I honestly think, aside from Oddworld, the other major games that not this takes inspiration because I think it was released after this, but it's very similar to this. Is Haven Call of the King, made by Traveler's Tales. That game actually has more cutscenes, more level structured, and a bigger story scope to it. But still.
Really disappointing.
It is. It was also a game that was planned to be as a trilogy, but flopped. And I honestly think it's partially responsible on why Midway kind of failed and was purchased by Warner Bros. Like, don't quote me on that because I don't think it's completely true.
It's again, that's the thing, Joe. But like, even before Teo told us, I could already tell just from looking at this thing that there's at least half of the original content that was cut because this reeks of reeks of cut content. Like
again,
this thing
I
is
cannot
so clearly
stress.
not complete.
But I didn't say anything, but I was very surprised when you said this is only 13 parts.
Yeah, I know.
It feels like the beginning, honestly.
Yeah. It's like I said before. This whole game feels like a first act. And again, I mean that in the nicest way possible. I mean, this game still has a lot of good messages. Sure. I like the characters. I'm a bit iffy on the setting. But yeah, that's the thing. This feels like we're in the introductory phase. And to hear that we're that close to the end, and yes, maybe the parts will be lengthier or whatnot. But then again, like even Kia said, there's been a lot of cut content. It's just that this game feels like it's a little maybe too short. And again,
if I was sorry.
maybe, and I'm beginning to think maybe the shortness of this game may be part of why there may not have been that much good word of mouth. Because let's not forget, like with movies, some games tend to be judged on how much their
Word of
full
mouth.
price is
Remember,
worth.
around this time, the internet wasn't popular at all among many fans.
Let me put it
So
like this,
it
there's
was
a
all game magazines and interviews.
Let me put it like this. There's a reason a lot more games nowadays are purchased to like $40 as opposed to the full 60. And a lot of that time, it can be because of the length of the game. Because, yeah, as much as we may not want to admit it, sometimes the length of a game does help the value of it price-wise. So if this game was full price back in the day, and it being as short as it is, I can see how that may have rubbed some people the wrong way.
It's no, sorry. Yeah, that's the thing. Like, if I was Michel Ancel, considering this was supposed to be a trilogy from the beginning anyway, I would have bet on making sure to have a more simple story in the first chapter, because this was at the point where it's a new IP. You're not entirely sure if you're going to be able to do everything you want. So I think Michel should have probably played it a bit more safe in the first chapter and go for a more simple story that can be easily told in a short amount of cutscenes.
That, or you should have pushed for, better budget than what Ubisoft gave him.
There we go, that's the
I won't
entrance.
deny it was a bit of a gamble, but Ubisoft don't always have the best history with actually treating their...
You can't just throw big budgets at gamble time, otherwise you end up going bankrupt soon.
Well, I'm not asking for big budgets. It's just Ubisoft are kind of notorious for not giving the benefit of the doubt. Like,
Anyway, we found the entrance to the proper Slaughterhouse.
ooh, it smells like one. Basically, James, here's my motto here: if you don't have any faith in this new product, why are you even bothering to have it then? Like, give it a fighting chance. I'm not asking for like the big bucks, but give them maybe a better budget to work with.
Yeah, kind of like what Square Enix did with Nier Automata compared to the original Nier.
Well, I think it helped that there was a big gap in between them.
Not really,
same.
Dibs. The only major difference was just the budget, and it was big thanks to supposedly the producer of Dragon Quest, who had a lot of faith in Taro.
Well, it wasn't more Yuzuki Saito who fought for that.
Not only that, well, actually, no, not that I think, not that I know. Oh, Jesus.
Oh no,
Yuzuki
Robot
Saito
Spider!
I know Yuzuki Saito is Taro's producer. He's always the one who shows up in the videos with him.
True, well, he's the one. Oh, Jesus.
What's this happen?
Basically, I cannot step over that.
Oh, I get that, but it's like the ship just got whoop. It got Prince of Persia's back.
And yes, so you are correct. Yuzuki Saito was a producer on Dragon Quest 11. So I guess technically, yeah, that's what they're talking about. Yuzuki
Yeah,
Saito.
that too. The only major change thing that happened was basically Taro asking for Platinum Games to be the developer responsible for the combat and the whole graphical field.
Yeah. Okay, what I would have done if I were Michel Ancel is I would have started this first game with a more simple storyline, with where we could entirely focus on the characters and with very basic arcs. Just let's start a bit simple, and then if the game became a success and maybe Ubisoft could put, okay, now this game was a success, so let's actually give it more of a budget for the second one, and then maybe Michel could possibly expand upon. Okay, now I can properly expand and tell a story with a bit more depth. All that good stuff, 'cause that's, I think he, like Theo said, he bit on. I think we should have bit on more than he can chew. He should have started with a more simpler plot for this first game.
I can definitely. Oh, that's suspicious. Also, holy smokes, this place is dangerous. I know that goes with.
Yes, Joel.
I know.
look at that.
I know it goes
A
without.
wheel.
Oh.
Bravo, Jade.
Go on.
I know it goes without saying that a slaughterhouse would be dangerous, but what kind of slaughterhouse needs robotic spiders, lasers, death rays, and all that stuff that was going on the way here?
It's
Very good.
economically friendly.
Basically, what I need to do right now is to bait this drone in order to send me some of the homing missile mines, and in order to bait them on the mine here, so that I can help create a passage in order to break a barrier that is blocking my path. But anyway, let me use this time instead to quote what Wikipedia says about the development of the game. So the full history. Beyond the Evil was developed by Michel Ancel, blah blah blah. And
Before you
Ubisoft
go
Pictures.
for that, Teo, if
to
you don't mind me, just a
friends,
small little point. I do agree now that after watching these raws on my own end, I can definitely say that I agree with Teo that the soundtrack in this game is pretty damn good. So there's that. Go ahead.
I still haven't checked what's the language that's used in some of the songs, like Propaganda, or the one that used for the races, for example. But, so I don't know, still, I'll probably check right after this part. But anyway, the game was developed under the codename Project BGEE, with production lasting more than 3 years. A group of 30 employees to compose the development team. Ubisoft Chief Executive Officer Yves Guillemot fully supported the project and frequently met with the team. After still working on Rayman, Ansel wanted to move on to something different. They recalled that the goal of Beyond Good and Evil was to quote-unquote pack a whole universe onto a single city, mountains, planets, towns. The idea was to make the player feel like an explorer with a sense of absolute freedom. A second goal of Beyond Good and Evil's design was to create a meaningful story amid player freedom. Ansel said that the linear nature of the gameplay was necessary to convey the story. Player freedom was an experience between parts of the plot. He also strove to create a rhythm similar to a movie to engage and delight players. The game drew on many influences and inspiration, including the Miyazaki universe, politics and the media, and the aftermath of the September 11 attacks. In creating the lead character, Ansel's wife reportedly inspired the designer, who wanted to portray a persona with whom players could identify. There you go, Jade apparently looks like Michel Ansel's wife.
Makes sense. I identify with her too and her optimism and all that.
The game was first shown publicly in 2003, where it received a negative reception.
So Jade is literally Michelle Ansel's wife.
Pretty much.
So you're telling me, Teo, that the whole "let's put the woman I have a crush on" thing is a French thing, as the main character of my game is a French thing, apparently.
Or European, remember, supposedly, oh my god, I'm terrible with names today.
W. Anderson?
No. Tetsuya Nomura's pupil, the Italian. Roberto Ferrari, there you go. Roberto Ferrari supposedly is designing the face model of Jesse in the Final Fantasy remake, apparently based on his girlfriend. So, yeah.
Basically, Jova, Nomura is training Roberto Ferrari, an Italian character designer, to be his eventual successor when he retires.
Anyway, this section is all about dodging
out of 0 out of 10.
Dodging the mines and everything, but let me conclude quickly. The game was first shown publicly in 2002 E3, where it received a negative reception. Originally more quote-unquote artistically ambitious and resembling games like Ico, the game was substantially changed in order to make it more commercially appealing. Jade, originally a teenage girl, was redesigned to be more powerful and befitting of her job. The game was also shortened by removing long periods of exploration due to Ansel's dislike of this aspect of gameplay in The Legend of Zelda: The Wind Waker.
So that's why...
The development team was demoralized by the changes, with Ansel commenting that the finished game resembling a sequel more than a reworking.
That explains so
the playable
much.
views of the game were often in movie theaters.
So that's why this game feels so shortchanged sometimes.
Exactly, meddling, I guess.
So, okay. So I guess the story with this game is that they did have a proper budget. The problem is that they blew a lot of it on the first edition of this game.
Pretty much, and apparently they had to quickly change into something like.
Well,
I'm okay.
So,
I can tell you personally.
Problems can be penned down to blowing the budget the first time round, a guy not liking a Zelda game, and
reshoots.
Also, I can tell personally, since I finished the game, that the changes applied to Jade honestly are fine to me. Like, I don't think the age was a big matter, considering the themes of the game and everything.
I think it's fine as well. Go ahead.
So, but yeah, honestly, I don't know about the Wind Waker thing. I'm guessing because of the fact that Ili's, you travel through Ili's mostly with waters, but I don't know. But anyway, now we're entering the main Slaughterhouse.
So seems like you still do a lot of stuff on water in this game. So
a trilobite.
Oh.
Cool.
Shouldn't you be extinct?
Thanks again, Jade.
Remember, Joe, we said also that to the Cell account, so, and look at that, what happened.
Well,
Anyway,
So somebody's lying.
basically, the passage is blocked by a huge gate, so what we need to do is to open it. Froggy. We need to open it by...
Froggy.
Jesus.
Yes.
That's a fat-ass frog, but...
Ashton's, that voice you're giving it, it's very much more similar to the Team Sonic Racing big voice than...
Really? I haven't even heard that one.
we
it's
changed
pretty
the
mu-
voice
it-
actor again.
Well,
I think
remember
it's
too,
still Kyle Herbert, actually.
I knew we changed the voice actors for the Knuckles and Blaze.
No, it's not so much that it was changed too. It's more so the fact that Big has barely had any major voiced roles in years. So
Yeah.
Team Sonic Racing is basically his first time in a long
Alright,
time to get any
since-
kind of major voice acting. But
Basically,
Since the gate is closed behind us, which pretty much means we need to complete the mission if we want to escape, unfortunately, because it's locked by one of those codes where we need to post the photos before end.
nifty. But yeah, basically, Tio, Ryu now voices Big the Cat.
Well, I
Yeah.
knew that.
And
He's
Bryce,
also the current voice of Miles Edgeworth, too.
I like Bryce's. I don't mind Bryce voicing
three more
Silver,
photos, Sean,
but I mean
before we
I'm a
can
big fan of his
put
work on the
issue
Yokai Watch
5
English
to
dub,
bed.
so I'm
Be
fine with
careful.
it. But I still prefer Quentin Flynn. I think Quentin Flynn did an excellent job of keeping what was the original intention behind the original voice actor of Silver in 06, but actually well executed. Because I think Blips himself even said it best. Silver's delivery is atrocious. But
Anyway, this first section of the Slaughterhouse is all about once again raising the gates and finding a way to enter. So in the meantime, let me continue instead with the small section of the development about instead the audio, like I briefly mentioned in the first part. The soundtrack was composed by Christophe Herral, who was hired by himself because of his background in film. Hubert Chevillard, the director with whom Ansel has worked in the past, had also worked with Herral on television special The Patine Pirouette, and basically suggesting him to Ansel. Herral was assisted by Laetitia Pansanel, who orchestrated the pieces, and his brother Patrice Herral, who performed some of the sound effects and singing. The soundtrack incorporates a wide variety of languages and instruments from around the world. Many Bulgarian lyrics were chosen for the song Propaganda, the one that plays in Akil Babar, so here's the language, to allude to the Soviet propaganda in the Cold War, of course.
But of course.
It uses a recording of a telephone conversation by Herral with a female Bulgarian friend to represent the government's control of the media. It also incorporates Arabic string instruments and Indian percussions, yeah, I recognize those. A song called Funky Mullah was originally planned for the Akuda Bar, but was replaced by Propaganda because Herral decided that its Muezzin vocals, recorded on September 8, 2011, would have been in bad taste in the wake of September 11 attacks. Fun and minigames, a song that plays during the hovercraft races, the one that we heard in this part, includes Spanish lyrics. The one of the dome instead for the domes, that plays during the domes, were created from a fictional language with prominent rolling R sound. The crashing metal sounds effect of Metal Gear domes, yes, there's a music called that plays during the boss fight, recorded from the son of Herral's neighbor playing with a scrap metal. The voices of the City of Illis were also recorded by himself, and the music has never been published as an album. Void has been released in its entirety as a free download by Ubisoft. Soundtrack is featuring the Video Games Live International Concert Tour. There you go. So basically, this was the gateway game for Herral as a video game composer, but he has a past to working with movies like that. There you go.
it's about the whole thing you were saying earlier, Doto. Well, think of it like this too. It's your country with Ferrari on design, and it's for me for music, since it seems June has decided to take T Lopes under his wing, apparently.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
There we go.
Actually, I think they could learn more.
Yes,
T. Lopez on how to work on a really big major release game, and maybe T. Lopez to June to know about how to make sure your music doesn't after 30 seconds.
Well, that's the thing. With,
if June has to work with just the keyboard and nothing else.
True. That's the thing. Tiago himself has said on Twitter that one of it, like when he first played Sonic Adventure 1 on the Dreamcast, and he saw Jun Sanu's credit as a sound director and lead composer, that's when he said, "I want to do that. I want to be like, I want to be that guy someday." So
And now he's
basically,
working with that guy.
June has always been Tiago's big idol and inspiration.
I mean, honestly, at this rate, it's only a matter of time until Tiago gets to his biggest stream ever, orchestration, pretty much. I mean, like, well, he's pretty much now in the big leagues. He's helping out with the current modern Sonic game, getting to work alongside Jun Sonoe and Hyper Potions as well. Will
And a
not be
bunch of-
surprised.
Because Team Sonic Racing soundtrack, apparently, Sonoe worked with different composers for each track to make them feel unique.
Including
Yep.
Ohanti.
I've barely heard any of, and I'm Richard Jacques apparently. Well, I've barely heard any of the tracks. So,
Well, the soundtrack is out everywhere. Well, tomorrow as of this recording, so...
Yeah, the soundtrack comes out tomorrow at the time of this recording, actually, and I can't wait for it to finally come out because I fucking
Same.
love Team Sonic Racing soundtrack.
Anyway,
But,
we enter the North Wing, which we'll explore and hopefully find the photos that we need in the next part. So see you.
See you then.
See ya.
See ya.
Sure.